Om Shanti. Om Shanti is a greeting of peace. Om has been remembered as the original sound of the universe. Om means I am. Shanti means peace. Om Shanti is an introduction of the self. Generally, this isn't the way that I introduce myself. Generally, I introduce myself in terms of the place in which I was born, my nationality, my gender, my age, my profession, all the factors linked with my physical existence. It is all these factors that dominate my consciousness, and I position my identity in terms of all these things. And yet, that which is invisible, that which is the driving force within my own life, is the inner being. The inner being is silent, incognito, invisible, and yet it is this inner energy, the inner being, which contains all secrets, which is actually the key of my personality. When I live life on an external, superficial, physical level, I find that there's confusion, there's peacelessness, there is a feeling of something missing in life. Within relationships, again, there is a huge arena in which there's misunderstanding, conflict, and a definite lack of love. The major reason that all these things are happening is that we don't know our own true identity. We're not able to know ourselves. As a result of this, we are unable to form relationships that have lasting value and real depth and significance. If I don't know myself, it's rather difficult to imagine that you can get to know me. If I can begin to know myself, then there is the hope and possibility that I can begin to get to know you, and that you will also be able to know me and understand me. Although we live with ourselves, yet the strange paradox is that we become strangers to ourselves. How well do I know what is going on in my own inner world? How well do I understand why I react in the way that I do? Am I able to understand why there are certain emotions and feelings that I experience? Am I able to access the potential within my own personality and direct it in the way that I would like to? Perhaps I'm able to manage some of these things or all of these things to a certain degree, but certainly I know that life would be a great deal more worthwhile and fruitful if I were able to enhance all these factors. Meditation means spending time with myself, getting to know myself, appreciating myself, and learning to value and then further love and respect myself. Who is it that you spend time with? Someone you love. Who is it that you're willing to give your attention to? Someone you love. And if I were to turn the finger towards myself and ask myself, how much time do I give myself? How much time do I spend with myself? How well do I know myself? All these would give me a very clear picture as to whether I am a stranger to myself, or even perhaps at times my own enemy? Or have I learned to become my own good friend? If I come to the point where I understand this and I decide I would like to take a look into my own inner world, I simply need to spend a few minutes quietly beginning this exercise. Raj Yoga meditation is the method to be able to look inwards and come to the point of knowing myself, realizing myself. Self-realization has been remembered as the goal and target of all spiritual practice and discipline. We've sometimes felt that perhaps it's out of reach, that it's very far away, that it's incompatible with our modern pace of life. And yet, precisely because life makes so many extreme demands on our attention and time and energy, it is at this very moment that meditation and the method of introspection and realization of the self can be the most valuable and fruitful. If life were calm and peaceful, perhaps I wouldn't necessarily need to meditate. But life being chaotic and changeable in turbulence constantly is the reason why I turn towards meditation, to be able to find the answers through meditation. Physical postures are a whole different area to explore. But a very simple way to look at this is to ask the question, am I able to discipline my own inner mind through physical exercises? Understanding that there is a very deep, intimate interaction of mind and body, I can understand that if the body relaxes, this will definitely influence the mind in a positive direction. However, I can attain mastery over the body in terms of gymnastics and acrobatics or even yoga postures, and perhaps I won't have attained the same degree of excellence or anywhere near that in terms of mastering my mind, my feelings, and my emotions. A different approach is necessary to be able to use my own inner energy in a positive direction. If I use anything physical, perhaps if I use a beautiful scene, I look at a sunset, or I look at the seashore, I look at the trees in the valley, a scene of nature that in itself is perhaps very beautiful, extremely soothing. All this can have a beneficial influence on my mind, and yet it won't necessarily change my way of thinking. I can be surrounded by wonderful beauty in nature, and yet my mind can be playing many tricks and creating much mischief, in which I'm causing myself pain and sorrow perhaps. It's an indication that there's another method that I need to approach and experiment with. A method that we've ignored for a long time has been to turn inwards and actually come to the very core of our own inner being and explore the potential that is within my inner world. In a world that's become extremely physical and materialistic, we tend to base everything on external factors of the physical body and the information we receive through the physical senses. But what we can do is for a few minutes experiment with a journey inwards, exploring the faculties and the energy that lie within the invisible, within the non-physical, the metaphysical, the spiritual being. We speak of the human being. The human is the frame, the body. It's an instrument that's extremely valuable and very, very precious. So precious that certainly human beings haven't been able to put it together. It truly is a work of art, a work of beauty, of scientific precision, incredibly intricate. And so one appreciates this amazing machine, this wonderful instrument, and yet within this human form there is that being that enables the human form to actually have life. When that invisible spiritual entity within the human form departs from this instrument, then no matter how wonderful the instrument is, it actually is able to serve no purpose at all. It is within the inner being that there is life. It is the inner being that contains my personality. It is the inner being that's able to generate thought, create ideas, experience feelings, generate emotions, make decisions, and then further implement those decisions. The brain is a wonderful mechanism, but it could be compared to the hardware of the computer. It is the soul, the spiritual entity, that is actually able to make use of this hardware. No matter how wonderful a machine in itself may be, if the person using the machine is unavailable, the machine on its own isn't able to accomplish anything. And so this body, including the physical brain itself, is the vehicle through which the soul functions, expresses itself, and receives information. Our world is dominated by the physical form, and because of this, we've forgotten how to access the inner qualities. The reason that I need to spend time exploring the world within the invisible spiritual dimension is so that I can discover the valuable treasures of peace, of love, of joy. Every human being would say that it is these qualities that make life worthwhile. No matter how many other achievements we may accomplish, yet if we're not able to experience these things in our own life, we're not able to enjoy life. We feel that life is meaningless. When I come back to the awareness of balance, the balance of the spirit with the physical, of the spiritual dimension with the material world, then with that understanding and focusing on the spiritual dimension, I'm then able to influence things in the physical world also. All I need to do is to sit quietly for a few moments. I need to turn inwards and see what's going on within. Within this physical instrument, the location of this inner being, the energy which is the soul, is in the center of the forehead. This energy is infinitesimal. That is, it has no physical dimension whatsoever. It exists, it is real, and yet it exists in the form of a point. No length, no width, no breadth, nor height. Simply a point. A point is eternal. Any other form can be adjusted and amended and broken into pieces. A point exists forever without change. And the being, which is life itself, is a radiant point of light. To switch my identity from my physical form to the awareness of a point of light is perhaps not so easy. Even in my dreams, I see myself in my physical form. I respond to everyone on the basis of my physical form. And so it requires reminding the self, practicing this awareness, to come back to the consciousness of who I truly am. The world will not remind me. I have to remind myself. And the purpose of meditation is to spend a little time quietly, just adjusting my image of myself, coming back to the consciousness of my eternal identity, so that I begin to know myself, value myself, and love myself again. As I do this, it becomes more and more natural. Then, not only do I have this experience during meditation, but even after my time in meditation, I can continue to maintain this awareness of maintaining the identity of I, the eternal being, I, the soul, looking out into the world, I, the soul, listening to the things that are going on around me, I, the soul, relating to you, the soul. The time spent in silence, in meditation, is valuable in itself because it will give me the practical proof of these abstract ideas. But beyond that, it's also extremely important to practice these concepts as I walk and talk and move and interact. Both things go together, side by side. The time in silence will influence my perception through the day, and my attitude and awareness through the day will enable me to go into the depth of silence in meditation. But certainly, the first step is to be able to experiment. Let us try this experiment. I find a comfortable position for the body. I can either sit in a semi-lotus posture on the floor, with my back upright and straight, or I can find a comfortable chair. This works equally well, or perhaps even more so, since I don't have to battle with aches and pains in my limbs. So sit comfortably, and if you're sitting in a chair, place both feet on the ground, with your hands gently resting on your knees. For a few minutes, I would like the body to be quiet and still so that there are no distractions. I can keep my eyes open, looking gently straight in front of me. I don't have to stare at anything. I don't have to concentrate on anything. But if I keep them open gently, I remain more alert. It is also the preparation to be able to carry on with this awareness even after I leave my corner of meditation, so that as I walk and move, I keep my eyes open and I'm able to look out and respond in an appropriate manner.